And we are officially live here on the Sandy Golston BookTube channel. So welcome to everybody that's coming through. Officially live here. And we are definitely the Sandy Golston BookTube channel. Okay. So just a little confirmation there. That's good to know. And let me get this straight here a little bit. So we're looking good. Composition is all set. So I am going to tonight, here, let me get rid of this screen here, and to get a couple of things set up over here before we really get going. So tonight, I am finishing up. I am like right near the end of the NaNoWriMo 2020 project that I was working on. And so it's a project that, again, from a writing standpoint, I really didn't touch any other story I was working on in the month of November. I was just really totally like almost tunnel vision focused on the NaNoWriMo project. So the name of the novel that I have been working on is called You Don't Know Me Like That. And it really centers on two sisters who don't know their sisters for pretty much their entire lives. And then at the funeral of their father, they find out that they are, in fact, sisters in this big revelation that answers one question for one of the sisters and creates a lot of other questions for both of the sisters. And the father's death is mysterious and is being investigated, though the investigation is not widely known. And what you find out is that there is an evil element, a criminal element that is tied to it, and it sets forth a mystery that has to be solved by the end of the story. And so the unlikely allies, the unlikely sisters, they have to decide whether or not they actually like each other, and they have to deal with almost like a rivalry, but it's not really a rivalry. As they start to get to know each other, the moms have to get to know each other and try to figure each other out and figure their situation out. And over the course of this, the enemy element is trying to get at them, because to them, there's a prize at the end of the tunnel, and they're trying to get to it, and they don't care who they have to run through to get what they want by the end of the story. And so there is a coalition of people that come together, some people that are allies and they're sure that they're allies, some people they think are allies, but they're not really allies, and they find that out toward the end of the story. So I am right now 71,803 words into this story, and I'm figuring it's going to take me somewhere between probably somewhere around 73,000 words, maybe up to 75,000, but I doubt I'll get that high to finish it. So I'm right here at the end of the line, and I should have it, the first draft at least, done by the end of the day. So I'm pretty excited about that and getting that done. So if you guys come in here and you would be so kind as to hit the like button for the video, that would be great. If you have any comments, please go ahead and drop those in the chat. If you got something that you just want to say, you want to shout yourself out, where you're from, what project you're working on, that is certainly great, and all is welcome there. So this is how we do it. I typically do 15-minute writing sprints. And so I'll do a 15-minute writing sprint, and then I will pause a little bit and chat with you guys, and we can chop it up a little bit and talk about what's going on. And then we dive into another writing sprint. Then we, chop it up a little bit, talk about what's going on, kind of share ideas, share thoughts. And then we do another one. And then depending on how things are going, we might just keep it going for a while. So because I'm so close to being done with this particular project, at least the first draft of it, I am really looking forward to really trying to wrap it up on this particular live stream. So that could keep us here for a while, depending on how things are going with this particular writing sprint. So the Unwanted Book Club. Wow, that is a cool name. That is an interesting name. It's interesting because it makes me think about checking out BookTube and trying to, one of the interesting things about BookTube on YouTube is trying to find people who read the same things that you read. And so your name, the Unwanted Book Club, made me think about how sometimes it can be challenging, depending on the genres that you prefer to read, finding people that read the same things. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's a decent sized novel. First draft should be starter length anyhow. Yeah, you know what? My philosophy with first draft is to just get in the car, put the hammer down, and just, run through it, get that first draft done, and then go back and start adding elements such as, more detail, backstory, things like that. I'll come back and I'll add in later. But I really want to, when you get that nice writing groove, you just like don't want to stop it or mess with it. Like don't argue about it, just enjoy it. So that's one of the things that I try to focus on as well. So let's see. Thank you. My boyfriend had the idea. I'm pretty unconventional and I stir the pot a lot. Yeah. So yeah, you know what? Kudos to you, because that's kind of the way I get down too. I like to stir the pot a little bit and just kind of get things going, kind of push the edge a little bit. I do that with my writing, and I do that with the books that I seek out to read. So I'll read a lot of, self-published books. I'll go and really scour YouTube, dig deep into I shouldn't say YouTube, excuse me, the Amazon. I'll dig deep into the Amazon algorithm to try to find, some good books by some authors that maybe aren't getting a lot of publicity, but are writing good stuff, writing cool stories. I like reading short stories. I like writing short stories too. So I'm always looking for things that are just kind of outside the mainstream, so to speak. So I'm with you on that one. Let's see. Yep. Unwanted books, any books not well known, controversial books people don't prefer are, yep, exactly. So yeah, that's cool stuff, and that's kind of along the lines of what I was just talking about. And so yeah, I like to just find cool stuff that's just out there, that other people are maybe overlooking because they're really focused on kind of the mainstream authors that are, don't. And not saying you shouldn't support them if that's what you like, but they're getting already a lot of help in what they're already doing. So it's kind of nice to be able to find some authors who maybe are kind of undiscovered and could use a little boost, and you could put a little change into their pocket as well. Let's see, NAZ41 is back for the first draft. I just like to get it all on the page. Yep. The writing starts with the rewriting, which is the stage I'm at now. Yeah. So I'm hoping. So what I typically do is when I get the first draft done, and I usually step back from it for a period of time. Nazy, I don't know if you do that, but I usually step back from it for a little bit just to kind of clear my head, kind of like sorbet, just kind of clear the palate a little bit and then come back to it a little bit later and maybe with a fresh perspective to look at it and see, am I seeing things the same way I did when I was writing it, or am I seeing it a little bit differently now, having stepped back from it, maybe read a book or started writing another project or started an outline for another project. So that's kind of my approach to it, is just to step back from it totally for a period of time, usually a week or so, maybe a couple weeks. I'll step back from it and then come back to the project and see it maybe with a fresher perspective or a different perspective. There you go. So good stuff right there. All right, well, let me go ahead and get the party started here with this first writing sprint. So let me go ahead and pull the clock up here. Okay, so you're saying, yeah, so step away from it for several months. Yeah. For me, it's usually at least a couple weeks, and sometimes maybe longer if I start another project and I'm really, in another writing groove with that next project, and I just want to, keep the momentum going. And so, yeah, sometimes it can be a while. So I think 2 months is pretty good, just to, again, clear that palette and then come back and just have a fresher perspective on what you're writing and to see it through different eyes. And so, it's almost like having a fresh set of eyes, even though it is still your eyes and you still are the author who wrote it and you know what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what is great, and what can be improved. And so that's kind of a good approach. So 100% there with you there in terms of taking some time away to get a fresher perspective. All right, so let me go ahead and pull the clock up right now, and we're going to go like we always do. We're going to do a 15-minute writing sprint that will take us to the top of the hour. So that's how we do it. So let me go ahead and get this posted real quick. You write plays. That's right. I remember you saying that. I have reading with actors so I can hear it. Oh, I see. That's good. That's really good to get a fresh perspective if you can. That's a great opportunity for you to have a fresh perspective there and other eyes. And that's one of the things that I want to work on as well, is just being able to have like a community of people that you can bounce things off of, because that really helps getting an outsider's perspective. They may see something that you don't see because they don't have the emotional attachment to it that you have. So it's kind of nice to get that outsider's perspective. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I got the clock ready here. And I'll put the clock up there kind of big. And there's an ad right there to pay the bills there for online-stopwatch.com is where I get the clock from. So let me see here. The Unwanted Book Club. Writers get some of their best inspirations from outside influence. Definitely. I don't know if you, for your writing, the Unwanted Book Club, if you show your work to other people. I don't know if you have like a group of people. That's one of the things that I'm working on getting is a group of authors to be able to bounce things off of and maybe do exchanges to get some critiquing going and get some important feedback that, again, sometimes it takes an outside perspective to be able to get that. So that's something I definitely want to get into a little bit more as well. Okay, so writing sprint number 1 here. Let me get my writing computer up. I got 2 computers here. I got my writing computer right here, and then I got my sort of studio computer right here. Let's see. On occasion, I put it online. Yep, that's an option too. Not a lot of people want to read our stuff. So, well, you know what? Again, if it's outside the box stuff, sometimes it is maybe a little bit harder to get readers. Because we all just have different interests and different tastes, and mine has evolved a little bit. I was a much edgier writer several years ago than I am now. Now I'm probably more of I'm a little bit older. You can see with the white hairs and the beard that a little bit older, and I don't know if refined a little bit more. Still a little bit edgy, especially in the types of stories that I like to write. So I get you on that one. But you know what? It's just a matter of persistence, hopefully paying off, and you'll eventually find those readers that are going to be valuable to you. It just might take a little bit longer to be able to find those readers. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get the party started right now. Let me go ahead and start the clock. And mini sprint number 1 is officially underway. All right, writing sprint number one here, or mini sprint number one is in the books. And I'm tallying up right now, and I have 521 words during the first 15-minute writing sprint for me. So let me know how you guys did that were right sprinting. As I'm gonna have to reset the clock here. But as I mentioned before, I'm coming down the stretch run here, 70,000 plus words. And right now, we're at the stage where law enforcement is in, multiple levels of law enforcement are in. The FBI is in. They've taken command of the situation. It's kind of like those of you who are familiar with the popular TV show Criminal Minds. It's kind of something like that. Is as it's coming to the end, they're working with local law enforcement to get to the bottom of it. And so right now they're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And the puzzle, it's like when you have this big box jigsaw puzzle and you maybe don't have the picture of what it looks like, but you have all the pieces. And so you're putting enough of the pieces together that you start to get a picture. Okay, I know what this puzzle is going to look like when it's finished. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. They know what the end product looks like. And now it's just a matter of putting the final pieces of the puzzle together and coming to our resolution. So I'm probably about 1,000 words, maybe less, coming up to the end. So let me know how you guys are doing, what kind of project you guys are working on, what your word counts are, and maybe share a little bit of that, and we can kind of keep this thing going. So because I'm feeling pretty solid about where I am right now, I'm going to go ahead and set the clock for the next 15 minutes here. So let me pop that back up. And let's see, let me get this set here. Let's see, so that's to about 7:23 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to go on this sprint. We go to about 7:23 p.m. So, whoops, double click that by mistake. So I'm going to get ready to do set the clock here for another writing sprint. So we're going to go 15 minutes again. And I think I'm going to be really on the front porch of finishing this first draft. So I'm going to keep the momentum going right here. I'm in a good spot. And so I'm going to let it roll right here. So here we go, 15 more minutes. You're mostly reading and staring at the wall. Hey, no problem. No problem with that. That's all good. Once I get done with this project, the next thing I'm going to do is start to outline this book series that I came up with. It just kind of hit me like a lightning bolt. So I'm going to start working on that. Either some character sketching that I have to do, and also a little work to kind of flesh out the outline a little bit more. So, and because there's significant world building in this, I'm going to have to put a little extra work into it, almost as much as I did for this NaNoWriMo project. So there's world building, and I haven't done a lot of stories with significant world building. And I know a lot of people that do fantasy, that read a lot of fantasy or write fantasy stories, they're probably more familiar with world building. So I probably need to go on YouTube and check out some kind of a YouTube lecture or video that specializes in world building, so I can make sure my world building game is tight and ready to go for this series that I'm getting ready to work on, because it's going to be one of those things where there's just a lot of important pieces to the puzzle. So being able to put them all together and have it flow and make sense and stay consistent is just going to require a lot of pre-game prep work, kind of like what you do for NaNoWriMo when you have Preptober, where you use the month of October to prepare for what you're going to do during NaNoWriMo in November. So, man, I'm almost ready for NaNoWriMo 2021 right now. So I think a lot of people are ready for 2021. So I don't know how everybody else's 2021 is going, but I think a lot of people are kind of like ready to just kind of wrap up 2021 and just kind of move on 2020, excuse me, and move on to 2021. So they see the Unwanted Book Club. I'm trying to take my time rewriting so I don't have as much to edit later on. Yeah, absolutely. It's tedious, but it saves a lot of time. Definitely. And I think that's when I go through it the first time after taking a break from it, I don't focus as much on editing. And the Unwanted Book Club, I'll be interested to hear your perspective on this. I focus a lot more on flow. Is it flowing? Are there sticking points where people just are like, where I feel like if I'm stalling and I know how the story works, then I know other people are stalling too. And so those are the things that I look for the first time going through. I'm kind of just more skimming it. And if I see something obvious, then I'll fix it. But mostly I'm just kind of skimming it for flow. And then I'll go through and I'll go through it again, and I'll start to add some depth and some color to the story to kind of bring it more to life after I fixed any flow issues. And then I start getting into the editing by doing kind of a content editing process and then line editing process to clean up a lot of stuff too. And then I use a lot of free or reasonably inexpensive tools such as like a Grammarly or a Pro Writing Aid or something like that, just to clean it up a little bit. Actually, I do that usually a couple times during the process just to make sure that some of those little pesky things that you overlook because you're worried about the flow and you're worried about the content, you miss like little stuff that you're just kind of like, how did I miss that? So I'll use those tools there, which are inexpensive or free. Let's see. Flow is a big part of the editing for me, fixing plot holes, finding ties and reconnecting them to other areas of the story. Exactly. Especially if you deviate at all from the outline, which I sometimes tend to do. I had a really in-depth outline for the story that I'm working on right now. But as I got into it and the character started to develop and I started to think, you know what? I get what I was thinking when I was outlining it originally. But now that I'm deep into it, I'm thinking, you know what? I want to go in a little bit of a different direction. So sometimes you think that you've cleaned up all the things beforehand that set the stage for the way you originally had it. But sometimes when you go back and you do that flow edit and you're like, oh, you know what? I missed that. And so that's an opportunity for you to come back and to be able to catch it. I don't know about 2021. I have a bad feeling it's going to be a continuation. I think at least initially, I don't think there's any question that it's going to be a continuation of 2020, especially when you look at, COVID and what's going on with COVID. We're still going to have a lot of tension because, we're going to have, I guess, theoretically, we're going to have an inauguration for a new president. We'll know what's going to happen with that. I'm sure at some point, not to get overly political, but there's I think 2020 definitely is going to carry over at least, I would say probably at least a few months into 2021, but we'll see how that goes. I'm a pantser. No matter how thorough I try to make my outlines, I deviate so much. I end up drafting the outline while I'm rewriting the novel. That's largely, I'm a pantser writer too. I just get in a flow, and sometimes I like to just freestyle, and I'll do a really basic outline. And basically, my bare minimum outline that I'll do is basically it goes like this. I basically write the back cover or the inside cover, book description, synopsis. I'll write that. And then I'll do very basic character sketches just so I don't forget little details about the character. And a lot of times that's just it. I don't go necessarily chapter by chapter, or I don't necessarily go into the 3 act format. I just kind of do those basics, the basic book description, and then the basic character sketches with the not a whole lot of depth into those character sketches. I see Nazy. I can't do outlines. Once I start writing, characters take me in a different direction. That's true. Yeah, they do. And I've had that happen many times. It happened with this story that I'm working on right now. Once I started to develop the characters, and then the characters take on a certain persona, and then you're like, okay, what I was originally thinking the character would, how I was originally thinking a character would react in a certain situation is not the way I think that character would react now that I've developed him or her into the person that they become. So just like people grow and become different over time, your characters likewise, because they're based on people, they're going to grow and develop and mature, and what you had in store for them at the beginning is not necessarily the way it's going to end. So that's kind of the way life works for a lot of us. So all right, good discussion there. Let me go ahead and get this party started here. So, all right, so 15-minute writing sprint is going to take us to the bottom of the hour. And I'm going to go ahead and start the clock right now. All right. Let's see. Hang on. Let me get the clock set already for the next one. So let me tally up there. I got so caught up in research that I'm not sure how much writing I actually got done here. Let me go and tally up here a little bit. Actually, I did get in a pretty good amount. Okay. All right. All right. So I got in 560 words during that writing sprint. So the piece of research that I just got caught up in was I was trying to learn about um, the location that the law enforcement is searching for is on a river, and so I was looking up the traffic, the ship tracking or traffic patterns for a similar type of area to try to be able to bring that to life and make it as realistic as possible. And so I was doing a little bit more research there, but I was still able to pound out 560 words. So felt pretty good about that. And this, I tell you what, it's those of you who are out there who are writing or writers, you know how fun it is when it's at least to me, it is. It's pretty fun when you get toward the end of the project and you're feeling pretty good about it. You've worked on it pretty aggressively, and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the pieces are starting to fall together. Knock on wood, hopefully that's the case for you. And then you start to feel pretty good about, where you are and where you're headed. So that's kind of where I am right now. The pieces are fitting together pretty nicely. I'm still kicking around one minor little extra twist at the end, and so I'm just gonna flow with it, and then we're gonna see what happens, and just whatever my fingers decide to write as I'm getting toward the end, I'm just going to run with it. And if I need to go back and change it, or if it doesn't feel right later after I take a break from it, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever it is, I'll come back to it, and maybe it won't make as much sense coming back to it as it's making at the time that I'm writing it. So, all right. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the next 15-minute writing sprint. Let me go ahead and get the old clock back up here. Go ahead and put that back up. And we are going to start sprinting right now. All right. Okay. I forgot to mute, but that's okay. Hopefully, I didn't say anything crazy. I let's see. So for this writing sprint, I got in 504 words. So 504 words. And truth be told, I was not I was not really in a good writing groove because I was doing so much reading and researching that um, I wasn't as doing as much writing. And then once I got the research done, I think it was about maybe 6 minutes left in the sprint. Then I started to sprint again pretty hard, and I was able to get myself going a little bit more. And so I was able to kind of bust out about a bunch of words right there. So that was something that was certainly a positive for me. So that was a good thing. Don't know how you guys are doing, but hopefully you guys are doing pretty well with your writing sprints. And I'm going to do at least one more right now because I'm getting so close to the end. So I'm going to do one or maybe two more, and then we'll see how that goes. All right, let me go ahead and reset the clock. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right on back into it. All right, so 606 words for me during this last writing sprint. I am heading into the last chapter, but I'm going to go ahead and break for tonight. We've been at it for it's like an hour and a half. We've been at it, so it's been a pretty good series of writing sprints for me. So I'm really happy with the progress that I was able to make, and I hope that you all were able to make progress as well. I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. Been a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and sit down and see if there's any more college football on, and just relax, have something to drink, and just chill out for the rest of the night. So thanks everybody for coming out, and hopefully I'll have a chance to see you guys again tomorrow morning. So again, Sunday morning, we're going to be doing a writing sprint beginning at 10:30 a.m. We'll do at least 3 15-minute writing sprints. And again, some of that more than likely will be me working on some outline stuff for my next project. So maybe we can outline together if that's something that you guys are interested in. If not, you can come and read with us, or you can come and write with us. Anything you'd like to do, just feel free to come on through, and we'll have some fun and just kind of kick it around. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Yeah, Nazy, I'm hoping that you can come through as well. It should be a lot of fun. I'll wake up, have some breakfast in the morning, and then sit down, set up the studio, and hopefully get some good either some good outlining in, or some finishing up this project. But I think this project will probably be done here before I go to bed here tonight. So well, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody for coming out. If you could, and you haven't already, please consider hitting the like button for this video. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well. And check out some other videos that I've done on the channel. I just released this morning a video about some Stephen King books that I'm still interested in reading. Earlier in the week, I listed the top 10 Stephen King books that I have read. And so that was kind of fun to do that, to think back about some books that I read way back in high school and haven't read since. So that was a lot of fun. So I'll be doing some more videos. I'll probably be shooting my end of the year videos coming up tomorrow. And let me see if I can pull that up right now so I can tell you what those will be. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I got it written down here. All right. So my end of the year videos will be, and these will kind of be my book awards, the Sandy Golston BookTube Channel Awards. I'm going to be doing a fiction book of the year. I will be doing a fiction runner-up book of the year. I will be doing a nonfiction book of the year, a nonfiction runner-up book of the year, my disappointing book of the year, and my pleasant surprise book of the year. And I have already made my selections for all of these books. And so unless something crazy happens to change my mind during the next couple of weeks, which I think is probably unlikely, I feel pretty good about the choices that I've made. So I'm going to go ahead and film those probably tomorrow and get those ready to go. And so those will be running through the middle and end of December. And that'll give me some content so I can maybe relax a little bit over the holiday break. So we'll see how that goes. I always talk about relaxing, and then it just never really works out the way that I think it's going to work out, because I'm just kind of a workaholic like a lot of you out there. So, all right, so that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and I hope to see you tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we will be getting going with this last writing sprint. So peace.